fuck, like I can actually build a company that can scale globally. I can make a product that cools down with a button.
What does your entrepreneurial mind think about all of these opportunities?
We can't force our European way of thinking on Americans. Like we want to sell in America, so we have to adapt. The more AI there will be in the world, the more there will be need for places like social wellness clubs.
Is there any wisdom that you would like to pass to the people that are either listening or watching?
And your foundation is sleep. You build everything else on top of that.
Just sleep more and the rest will come. Chiel Kraai, longevity and contrast therapy entrepreneur that is shaping how we recover these days. Thank you for joining me on the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to kick things off with acknowledging that contrast therapy is by far one of my favorite workout routines. And the reason why I approached you is that I wanted to learn what the business side of things looks like with the huge boom of the interest about ice plunging, saunas, etc., that we have seen in the recent years and some of the businesses popping out, to hear basically the backstory of how things are at, because for the most part, I only enjoy it as a client or customer. And it was very intriguing to dive into the business side of things. This is not your first rodeo. You have been around doing different kinds of things for quite a while. So that's pretty much the main reason why I wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah, it was a very good question. Like, that's not a question I normally have to explain more stuff about, like ice bathing and cold plunging itself. And I always say, like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not a scientist. But yeah, like, so I would say, like, the business side, like 5 years ago, this was non-existent. Like, there's like one company in Australia doing this a little bit. They've been around for a very long time. They've been around, I think, for 20 years already. They were the first company in ice bathing. But 5 years ago, the real trend started to pick up. That's also the moment when I started to develop the first unit. And for us, like for me, it started, of course, from my first company. Like my first company is Welvaren, where we sell hot tubs and saunas. And a certain, like 5 years ago, people started to buy hot tubs without a heater, and they were filling them with ice cubes. And in the beginning, I was like, that's okay. If people buy a hot tub, they buy a hot tub. They can decide for themselves what they want to do with this thing. And then it started to happen more and more. And Wim Hof, for example, he's like a regular client from Welvaren. I think for 10 years already, everything he has in his garden, he buys from Welvaren. And I got more intrigued.
It's a good client to have, right?
It's a very good client to have, but like also 10 years ago, like I think now it's the same time, or like 4 years ago, Wim Hof started to become famous. Before that, he was just a weirdo jumping in cold baths. Like nobody had any interest in the guy. Like nobody believed the guy as well. Like like the Wim Hof story is super fascinating in my opinion, because he started the whole thing. Like this is one guy responsible for this whole new market segment we're having. This is one guy.
Isn't that insane?
It's insane.
In today's world, one person can have such a massive impact like Wim Hof, basically starting this insane trend that goes for years and years and years. And it has created an immense business opportunity.
Yeah. And I don't know of a lot of other business categories where this one guy is responsible for like opening a whole category. And he pushed really hard for it. Like Wim is jumping in cold baths for 20 years already. Like it's also not like after the 5th year he started to believe, and like probably after the 15th year they started to believe the guy, like, hey, this is maybe something we should all do. But then, like, so I was like, and then I did like an ice bath workshop myself, like after like getting all those clients and Wim Hof. And after that, I got really convinced for myself, like, hey, this is actually really great. Like, I think everybody who has done an ice bath, they remember their first time doing it. And for me, that was a great experience. And I was standing next to the ice bath, and I remember like, fuck, this is amazing. But we had one of those blue inflatable pools, and we put like 1,000 kilos of ice cubes in there. It's like, this is very inefficient. I can make, like, I'm a guy, I'm building hot tubs for 10 years. I can make a product that cools down with a button. And also back then there were not a lot of competition yet. I was like, fuck, like I can actually build a company that can scale globally, because this is something that is going to be booming in a couple of years. And then we spend a lot of time on R&D, because making a product super scalable, like software, is a little bit easier, of course, to scale from Europe to America to Australia. But if you want to make a physical product and you want to sell it in each country, regulations wise, maintenance, service, it is quite difficult. So we spent a lot of time on doing that, I think about 2 years. And now we are rolling it out. Like in Europe, we're doing very well. We're starting a little bit in America. We're starting a little bit in the Middle East. We get some interest from other countries as well, because we made a product that can scale very quickly. We don't have to reinvent the product if you want to move to America, or if you want to move to Australia, for example, or even like in the UAE where it's 50 degrees, the product still functions, but it also functions in Scandinavia where it's minus 20. And that saves us a lot of time with like reinventing the product before we have to scale it to another countries. And there is a lot of interest, because we get interest from Brazil, Argentina, like the weirdest countries, like of not, they're not weird countries, but like for us, countries we've never done business with. They want to buy stuff from a European company because they just want this product, and it's not really available in the market yet. Still, in my opinion.
That's what I have learned about many of the businesses that become very, very successful in one particular area. That this is like, it's a very complex type of business for logistics, for different, as you mentioned, kind of regulations, etc. And it's quite easy to be fairly successful and penetrate one market, but to create a global brand out of that, it's not like you would be able to ship a small package anywhere in the world, because, of course, these are relatively massive units, right?
Yeah, and they have to think about everything. How many can you stack in a container? But also the other side, like once you've shipped the container to like a warehouse, they have to unpack it and ship like one piece to a client. And what if something breaks? Because like you don't want to have service mechanics like visiting the clients on location, because this like will stop scalability. So for us, we always keep the cooling unit, for example, separate, because if something breaks, there's always the cooling unit. And then we can we can swap it out very quickly then. Because normally if your hot tub breaks, what I always say, like it sucks a little bit. You have to wait 2-3 weeks until your hot tub is fixed. You can't use your hot tub. But if you're cold plunging every day and you need to wait 2-3 weeks until it's fixed, that's a long 2-3 weeks. And we, for example, we send
It's a lot of days.
It's a lot of days. Like it's very important in your routine. And we have also people with like muscle diseases, and for them they use it every day. And because they use it every day, they have less pain in the muscles or whatever. Like if they get their pain back because they can't use the cold plunge, like they're usually very nice clients, but like they really want it back. They really want their cold plunge working as fast as possible. And then what we do, we ship out a new cooling unit from our warehouse to the client. They exchange it, put the old cooling unit back in the box, ship it back to us. It's functioning within 48 to like 96 hours. They have like a working unit again.
That's, I would say, a lot more comfortable than waiting 3 weeks for someone to come and replace, right?
Yeah. And it helps also for us with scalability, of course, because therefore, if we want to move to another country, we just need to get an external party warehouse. We get like a service department somewhere where they can refurbish the units. Like, so we can also scale super quickly.
Well, considering that it's such a hot market right now, how do you look at the competition, and what do you try to do differently to stand out?
The main thing what I see now competition doing, like they are making a bathtub with some cooling unit next to it. And they're putting a few different compartments together instead of making something from scratch. There are a few guys who made something from scratch as well, but they're still a little bit behind. Like they don't have the experience of like selling 10 years hot tubs. They don't, for example, with filtration systems, they're doing things, but I think like, yeah, that's what I did also 5 years ago. Like this is okay, but there's way better ways of doing it. And the main thing I would say is, for example, quality with the cooling unit. Like to make a cooling unit that keeps the bath at a certain temperature 24/7 throughout the year is not super easy. Like that's also what you see a lot with competitors. If you check the reviews, these things break quite a lot. And if you have a lot of breaking units, you can imagine how the customer service of that company must look like, because you have a lot of angry clients. Then the customer, like it's over, they don't have the capacity, so you have to wait very long to get your stuff fixed. Like, and this will only increase more and more. And we have a fault percentage, like a few percent of the faultage rate, and we can fix it also very quickly. And I think therefore, we have a lot of clients choosing our brand because we just sell a reliable product.
And considering that you mentioned that you see the interest in your ice tubs pretty much all over the world, where do you see currently the biggest potential for you to scale the business, and maybe what are some of the obstacles on the way?
So what we tried, like I still very much believe in America. First of all, there's a lot of Americans. Consumerism is also high in America, and we are in a high price range. We know that, but for Americans, like they have, of course, different salaries. We are more affordable for them. The hurdle here is a little bit like we first approached the American market in a European way. And one of the things we saw, for example, well, we sell regular tubs and XL bots and XL tubs. Like America just orders XL, even for no reason, because they've like it's not like the Europeans are small people or something. Like we fit also in a regular tub, but Americans, for example, they just want XL just because it's XL. Like it's very simple, but like we have a lot of stock there which we don't sell because everybody buys XL. Like I'm not talking like 70%, but more like 99%.
So basically,
Um,
the learning is that you don't need two different sizes
no,
because 99% of the people go for the bigger one anyway.
yeah, and they really like European brands. Like they European makes a lot of quality, but they also on the other side a little bit afraid. Like, hey, what happens if I buy something from a European company if it breaks down? Like we have a place in America, we do service, whatever, but we spend quite some time like getting the trust from clients. So this, of course, just takes some time. You need to get more clients, and word of mouth will also spread a little bit quicker. And the marketing strategy as well. Like I've been like last year, I flew quite often up and down to America. But you see Americans, they have way more screaming advertisements. Like even in my hotel, if I'm in the evening and looking at the TV, I'm just checking the commercials a little bit. Like, hey, what's the style here? And we as European would find it super ugly. Like our commercials, our Instagram ads, whatever, like a very sleek design. Like it looks nice, soft for the eye. Like in America, in my opinion, is 20 years ago. Like red banners, like discount things, whatever. Like it's super ugly. But we can't force our European way of thinking on the Americans. Like we want to sell in America, so we have to adapt to their way of thinking. And American faces, we're doing now shoot with American faces instead of European faces. So for each country, we have to like redesign everything, and I underestimated that a little bit.
Well, for some reason, they do it differently. It might look ugly, but the fact is that it works, right?
It works. So like
So
I personally find it ugly, but like I have no opinion here. Like they need to buy it. So we are adjusting to their style of marketing, of course. Yeah, but like this, it feels very unnatural to do that. So that's all stuff we have to learn. And of course, we tried also on American marketing agencies, but like, yeah, some is good, some are bad.
is it feasible to be like building everything in Europe and shipping it over to the US as the final product? Well, isn't the cost of shipping prohibitive for something that is relatively sizable?
Yeah, very, very good question. So for now, it's still doable. Our plan was always we'll build a factory in Mexico. Because in Mexico and America, they have a trade agreement, which is like now also non-existent anymore. And that's
Used
also the
to
reason that
there used to be an agreement. Let's put it that
there
way.
used to be an agreement. Yeah, there's one guy who doesn't give a fuck about this. And that's also a little bit why we are stopping a little bit with the like really hard pushing on the expansion there. We have to see how this is going to land, because if he is going to make it another trade agreement with Mexico, then everything is normal again. If it doesn't happen, we maybe have to go to Canada, maybe America itself. But like if it starts to become like very high volume, of course we need to start to think about local production, because it's not feasible anymore to like start shipping containers all the time. Then we need to get our own boat at some point because it's very big.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because these are like big items, and it should be more than possible to build it there, right?
Yeah, it's very possible, but American labor is very expensive. So for America, it's not impossible for us to do it in America, but like it's almost cheaper to ship it from Europe than pay American labor. But American salaries are a lot higher compared to Europe. Like it's a big gap.
Do you do the production in the Netherlands or somewhere else in Europe?
No, we do the production in Lithuania.
Okay, got it.
Yes, close to
And
Kaunas.
gotcha. And what is the distribution within the European Union? Do you have more or less all the countries covered, or where do you see the biggest interest?
South Europe. Like we do, of course, we do a lot like in West Europe. Of course, we are located here. It's an easy market for us. But South Europe it's people think more about ice bathing when it's really hot. Like it's more comfortable. Like in the Netherlands and Prague, it's the same. Like when it's winter in your country, people can jump in the lake. That's very normal to do nowadays.
That's right.
And summer, like it's a little bit too warm, so it makes no sense to jump in the lake anymore. So we see a higher peak in summer, but in the south of Europe, it never gets cold. So you always need an ice bath, even in winter. And we see a bigger interest there.
One thing that I did not hear you mention is the design of your product, because at least in my opinion, this is something that I perceive as like a key differentiator for your brand, because I like the way the products are built, designed, etc. They look sleek, and I feel like you use good materials. You mentioned that the premium build quality and hence premium pricing is part of your strategy. Was that the intention, that you wanted to build something that also looks and feels good?
Yeah, 100%. Like so, this I do across all my businesses. My motto is always there can be only one guy the cheapest, but there multiple guys can be the best. So and I don't want to be part of the race to the bottom, like because you have to start cutting corners. Like, hey, I want to make it cheaper, so what can we cut off this product to make it cheaper? And I'm like, I sold a lot of ice baths myself as well. Like it's just nice to sell a product that is really good. Like, and I'm now even sometimes we are like making adjustments, and I'm fighting a little bit internally in the company because we make an adjustment, and then the CEO is like, but like, how much extra revenue is this going to bring to us? And I said like nothing, but it makes the product just better. We should do this. So it's a bit of a personal thing. I really just like to make high end product. Of course, it's a different market segment, but I like this better as well. And I think you, in the end, you get also clients who understand this and want to pay for that extra effort we put into it.
Did you get on this whole journey just based on your personal experience with how the ice bath helped in your life, and is that still an ongoing practice as part of your like daily routine?
It's a bit of both. So I like ice bathing myself, and I see a lot of the benefits. I still really hate going in an ice bath. It doesn't get any better, even after doing it a lot of times. But also, like, I'm also an entrepreneur. I saw the business opportunity in this one. Like it's a great opportunity which I had back then because I was a guy very experienced in building tubs, so I could bring this experience to building cold plunges as well. And people quite often ask me, how much did you pay for the name icetubs.com? I said like €5. I was just the first one to get it because like it is like it was still available. So I was very ahead of the trend in this one. And then like as an entrepreneur, you just smell the opportunity like, hey, I can really, really build something here.
So what is your ice bath practice these days? Do you go in on a regular basis, or it's kind of random?
It's very random because I'm traveling a lot. So I'm just like usually days in the Netherlands, not weeks. But like when I'm here at the office, like of course, like I really like it after the gym session. I know like the science is against it, but I'm not training to become like the biggest muscle guy ever. I'm just training because I want to stay fit. And I like after like as the same as you, like after training, like ice bath, sauna, and like 2-3 rounds or whatever. And then like I'm say in the evening, I'm lying in my bed, and the day feels very completed.
Is that part of your recruitment process, that someone has to jump in the ice bath and stay there for a few minutes?
Quite often we do this, yeah. Not of course on the first interview, like hey, let's did you bring your swimsuit? Just jump in the ice bath. But it's like I think we do like a trial day or something, and in the trial day we usually do an ice bath, And when I used to do the interviews, like for more high-end positions, I usually take them with a training session. Because I really like training in the gym, and I think you see a lot of a person how they act in the gym. Like if it really starts to suck in the gym, what do? Do they skip reps? Do they make it more heavy? Are they bluffing how much they can lift, which they can't lift? You see a lot, and then after you do like an ice bath and a sauna, and an ice bath you can't communicate because it really sucks for a couple of minutes, of course. But then after, like you get a lot of like really nice energy when you're out of an ice bath, and then you sit in a sauna, and you usually get the best conversations in that moment.
Yeah, the combination is by far the best. That's for sure. And that feeling when you can mix it up, that's I can definitely see how it opens some great conversations. That's for sure.
And that's still like from a market perspective, because we're talking about that, like there's just a small percentage of the whole population actually doing this. Like it's for me, it's my bubble. In my bubble, everybody uses an ice bath sometimes. But that's my bubble. Like there's a lot of like I still meet people also on a regular basis. Like they've never done it. They heard about it's this like Wim guy who does it or whatever, and they still have to try it for the first time. So from a market momentum, it's only the early adapters who are doing it now, like top athletes, entrepreneurs, people are very ahead of the curve. But the big one, the big majority of the population still has to accept ice bathing.
So, how big appetite do you see for your business going forward? And is there, do you want to double down on this category, or are you trying to expand somewhere else as well?
No, like how I started this from the beginning was already, like I said, like in every market category, what happens, like it starts, they get a lot of competition, like a lot of people trying to something here. And then after a couple of years, this will be like a few big ones. They're going to be a few big ones, and they're going to be starting to buy the smaller ones. That's how it usually goes in any category. And I always said, like, I want to be one of the bigger ones, buying the rest. And then we see who ends out on top. But at least I want to give it my best shot.
Have you already managed to do any acquisition?
No, like we're not doing any acquisition at the moment because like you don't have the capacity inside the company to do an acquisition. You have to onboard. There's a lot of a lot of problems going with that as well. At the moment, we can still expand a lot, and we see competition already. Like few going bankrupt because of the cooling unit problem. They sold a lot of units where a lot of them break, and then they actually don't have the cash flow to fix it. Yeah, that's like a simple calculation. You're not going to make it in the end. So you already see competition falling off. And like once it starts to in the top, the categories start to be like a bit assembled in the top, and then we can start to buy. But it's not close yet. It will still take a couple of years, I think.
Are there any public data how the competition in your category on the European market looks like? Like, do you measure like what's your market share roughly?
Yeah, so we actually just started with this because you had the same question. Like, because normally when the category is longer existent, you have like all these professional companies, they make some like market share calculation and stuff like this. But this is non-existent a couple of years ago. And every ice bath company who's doing well is also doubling every year. So it's like the last year data is not going to say anything about this year data. So now we are a little bit arguing what data points we use to actually make a calculation of what our market share is. But we don't have an answer on this yet.
Yeah, I would be just curious because I know that, at least from my perspective on the US market, there is quite a clear leader versus here in Europe. To me, it felt like it was quite spread out among a lot of different smaller players, but you stood out, so that's why I felt like we should be chatting, and I would love to learn what it's like to be on the other side.
Yeah, I understand. So the American company, like the Plunge you're talking about, like they are of course category leader in the US, falling out at the moment as well. Like they get lots of like issues with their cool units. But they are from a
not
size.
just cooling units. I feel like it's also a business that blew up extremely fast. So it must be very
Hard to
to
manage that.
to hold it together.
Yes, so that's like they grew insane, and it's almost impossible to manage that as well. So I very much understand. So they do have quite some cleaning up to do, and if they can manage the cleanup, they will be a very big category leader. But there's also potential they can't manage the cleanup, and then they will fall over, and that means more market potential for us. And the visual perspective, like they are of course very different product, like how it looks compared to ours, which is nice, is of course a personal preference, but I know there's space for both of us.
100%. And like, is there any particular category of use that you feel like this is your sweet spot? Because some people can be getting a nice plunge for indoor home use, outdoor public spaces, studios, etc. Right? There is many of these categories, and everyone caters a little different audience. Do you feel like you are particularly stronger or weaker in some of the categories?
Yeah, so we've developed we just launched it a couple months ago, commercial unit, so iStop Pro. And this is like very unique. Like there's nothing like this existing in the world. Like this is from an R&D perspective, this is also very, very high end. We have even a technical patent pending on this. Like to get a technical patent on a product is not easy anymore because that really means you have to invent something. Like this, what a lot of people are doing, and even Plunge, for example, they get a residential unit and then make a few upgrades, and then it's a commercial unit. But if a product is like 500-600 liters and there's 100 people using it every day, it doesn't matter how much you're filtering or how much chlorine you put in it, it's going to be disgusting.
Gets a little gross.
Gets very, very gross. And then even like, can you imagine, like, yeah, people need to shower, but half of them do, and the other half, they don't shower before they go in. They jump from the sauna full sweaty in the tub. This is very dirty. So what we have developed is a product with like an overflow. So it filters like super well, but we also refresh an X amount of liters per user. So if a guy uses it, like 3-4 liter gets refreshed. You can also adjust it. And we do like auto chlorine system in it and whatever. Like, so we've made actually like, it's almost like a small public pool with auto refreshment, auto top up. And so we promise a client that it's as clean for 150th user a day as it is for the first user who uses it.
Oh wow!
And like so, and
that's a bold statement.
That's a bold statement, and we managed to do that, and also work with all the local regulations, because a commercial ice bath is basically seen as a public pool, and a public pool in each country regulations are crazy. Like it is like, because there's a lot of hygiene regulations, and like we now even selling this in California. California is completely insane, but we still manage to like make those expectations and like manage to fit in the regulations well, and also with a standard product, so we can adjust the product to each regulations in the local country. Because like Czech Republic will have different regulations in the Netherlands. This is how it works. Even in the Netherlands, we have 7 different regulations for different parts in the Netherlands. Like it's a super small country. But just to show people like how crazy this thing is.
And then you create one product and you try to sell it to different countries where, like, you know, not even one country is consistent with the regulation.
Yeah, so every country is different, and so our product you can adjust towards the local regulations, like whatever they want. They want more water refreshment, they want more chlorine, more filter capacity, higher. We can change everything in the tub itself, like whatever you need. And this is like, I haven't seen any product. I think I know every iPod brand in the world. I haven't seen anything like this. Like this is non-existent, and also we have a technical patent on it. So to actually make something that comes close without copying us is going to be very difficult.
And what is, in your opinion, like, what is the core essence of the patent? If you can talk about that, I know that it's touching a little bit the trade secret, but what is it revolving around?
It's actually how we made the overflow system itself. So if you like, as the dirty water goes to one side, and how we don't mix the dirty water with the clean water, and how we automatically add new water without mixing all of it together.
That must have been quite an extensive research behind that, no?
We spent a lot of time on this, and also lots of prototyping. Like this is not easy to to make. Like if you see it now, like it's probably like, oh, this is something I can do. But like to come to this point, like we spend a lot of hours on this. But we see now, like we get so much interested in this like product from, because that's one of the big trends which is also growing now. Like a lot of people are using it private at home, but soccer clubs, gyms, you get recovery studios nowadays, and all these guys need a commercial unit because like they can buy a residential unit which cools down or whatever. But as soon as the government knocks on the door with hygiene regulations, it's not going to work anymore. That business is closed. So they can basically only buy one product. That's ours.
You mentioned that you travel a whole lot and probably go to different parts of the world, and their I would say usage of ice bath might be different. Do you also experiment with visiting different bathhouses and contrast therapy studios to see what's out there?
Yeah, of course. Like this is like one of the fun parts of the trip. Of course, when you're in a country you've never been before, or if you've been like, hey, check out this new, because there's lots of new contrast studios starting nowadays. Usually, like I go to these places to check out, hey, what's happening. But the interesting part about it, I think this is a bit of a community as well. There's a lot of, like if you do ice bathing in Prague and a guy does ice bathing in Amsterdam, probably they have the same things they like in life, even if they grew up in a different country.
That's a big lesson learned for me, that if you are around this environment, it really attracts very much like-minded people.
That's what you see globally a little bit. These people are all into like health. They are fit. They want to talk about food, and and ice bathing is also like, still ice bathing is a very tight community. You're a little bit of a weirdo if you jump into an ice bath on a regular basis. So you like somebody else who does it as well.
It's very uncomfortable, and I think you have to be a little bit of a special breed to be ready to do it on a regular basis. Any of your favorite spots that you have had a chance to visit in terms of these public places?
Yeah, I was in Singapore, and they have the ice bath club. I think it's called ice stop club or whatever. And they've made a really nice. What I like about this one, they made a very big cold ice bath, and it's very much of a community space. So it's if you go, what I always say, if you go to a spa with your partner or with your friends, like you spend there like half a day, you go to the sauna, whatever, you relax a little bit, and once you walk in the sauna, it's very quiet. Like nobody's talking, everybody's with eyes closed, chilling. What this place done different, they also insulated the sauna in such a way so it doesn't echo. So it's actually made to people, like instead of there's a sign, don't talk, shut up, there's a sign like, please talk to each other. And like I've been a few times to those, and every time when I've been to one of those places, I've met people. Like you're just sitting next to somebody in an ice bath and you start a small conversation about something or whatever. And this I find, like, in my opinion, like super interesting. It's a new trend nowadays as well, like the social wellness club. And I really, really see this booming. And I think there's also a big need for this. Like people need, I don't know if yourself, but I stopped drinking a couple of years ago because I just out of health reasons, which is, you're the same. But there's a lot of people like who stop drinking, but they need a new place to hang out. Like normally, so you mention, oh, let's go drink, go for a bar. I don't really enjoy that anymore. But like now, if somebody says, hey, let's take an ice bath and a sauna together, of course, I have the possibility to do that at my own location. But if I wouldn't have that, I would love to do that somewhere else. Like, hey, let's have like a fruit smoothie and like then go an ice bath in a sauna, chill out, chat up, catch up. And then like 2 hours, I'm cycling home, and I had like a very healthy evening instead of like I had 5 beers and have a hangover the next day.
As a modern social club, it's and they are popping out. These like sauna raves with DJs, comedy, stand-up comedy shows, you name it. Like the people go wild and they experiment what are all the things that you can do, but combining it with sauna and ice bath, I have seen that working extremely well because exactly as you said, it attracts like-minded people. Everyone comes open to talk. You combine it with a great food, and you're having a blast.
You're having a blast, and there's a big need for this. Like people are spending more. What I said always, when somebody told me this, I copied his sentence a little bit. I said, the more AI there will be in the world, the more there will be need for places like social wellness clubs, because the more people are going to sit behind the computer and work with a computer on their own, and the more they can do on their own with ChatGPT or whatever, the more they need the need on the other side to connect offline. Like both those markets will grow really. Everything in the middle will fail because like will be taken over by AI or whatever. But people need more AI so they can work more efficient, and they need more offline stuff to connect.
I couldn't agree more. And like in the end, I have been building digital products my entire career. All I know is how to build software. But I like to be building tech so we can use less tech in a way, right? So like,
Yeah.
Let's make it as user friendly as possible for the moment that you really need it. But then I want to go to the nature and I want to forget about everything. I want to walk barefoot and drink fresh water, etc. And I think that's where it's all headed. That it's going to be a lot more polarized, and exactly as you said, the stuff in between will disappear.
Yeah. So there's two market opportunities here. Or you invest in AI, or you invest in offline connection building something.
Yeah. What does your entrepreneurial mind think about all of these opportunities? Because like as you mentioned, you once you spot an opportunity, you are an entrepreneur. You want to jump on it. Do you feel like you are pretty much you keep yourself busy with what you are doing currently, or are there any other areas that are of your attention?
Yeah, so I think what we said before, I saw this as well. Like, there's a trend to connect more offline. I had briefly thought about making my own social wellness clubs. I was like, hey, like for in America, there's quite a few franchises who are building hundreds of these things in America, and in Europe, there's just boutique shops like pop and mom shops. They build like 1-2 locations, but there was space for a guy building 100 locations. But as an entrepreneur, I don't believe, for me myself, like it's the best business model to make a service company. Because if you're a service company, like you need a lot of employees. If you have a lot of employees, this will give you lots of potential issues and also hard to scale. Because getting good employees is just very difficult in any category, I think. So I've been thinking a little bit. I think I'm surprised Wim didn't do this yet. And this is maybe also something interesting to you. So maybe I'm giving you a great idea here. But there's, I think, some community building. I think what the social wellness clubs are doing. But therefore, you need to pay like a high membership, I think, to get in these things. I was in one in London that was like
Arc,
few. No, Arc is actually quite affordable.
third space, Rebase.
Rebase is very expensive. Like it's extremely expensive. It's like there's a lot. This is premium plus. But there is space if people just want to connect and they want to jump into a lake and do a sauna in the woods or whatever, or they want in Amsterdam, they just want to go in the canal. Where do you find that people without going to a social wellness club, paying a high membership? I think there's an app that needs to be built for this thing, like to connect these people where they can find each other. Because what we said before, they have the same interest, they want to talk to each other, but they need somebody to help them to come together and to pay a small subscription fee to be part of a community with like-minded people. I think this is bringing a lot of value for a client for a little less money, and they get the same benefits. So there I see a market opportunity.
When it comes to matchmaking, I have participated on building of more than 20 different dating applications out there, including some
more
of them.
Than 20 dating applications? I thought just you have to Tinder and Bumble, right?
There is like, I would say 100 plus at least. Quite big ones. But I know a thing or two about matching people together. So maybe we could combine that.
Yeah, for sure. Like this is what I said. I see opportunity in this, that build a platform where people can actually find each other who want to do cold plunging together, or like a workout together, or whatever. There's I think the group of people who want to live healthy to the new health thing we've learning nowadays. We know way more than we know 20 years ago, what you need to do to actually have a long life and a healthy life. And they want to do that together as well, because I think being in a community and being together is healthy on its own. So if you're just like training and eating healthy and sleeping well, like you're still missing a very important part, and that's
Oh
community.
yeah.
And I think
Oh yeah.
we're getting very, very bad at that as people. Like we just being more and more lonely, more stuck behind a computer. And it's also in general, it's more hard to meet people because everybody's doing this. And like back in the day when there were not phones, you tap people on the back like, "Hey, who are you?" Whatever. And now when you go to a place where there are lots of people, everybody's on their phone, including
There's
me.
a,
Like I'm also part of this. I'm not special, but like
yeah, there's something on that for sure. You mentioned that you stopped drinking at some point. What led you to do that?
Um, so basically, my 30th birthday, I stopped drinking. I was so drunk, like really over the limit. And I woke up the next day. I said, I'm never drinking again. I never did it again.
Well, it was just like going so wasted that
Yeah,
it
it was
sobered you
just it
up
was
for the rest of the life.
yes, it was just enough. And then like also, I've been a bad sleeper in my life. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep anymore. And like I think everybody who has a bad sleep knows how super annoying this is. And like after I stopped drinking for a couple months, like my sleep started to improve. And I put those two together actually. And for me, it's like, hey, if I shouldn't drink to have a better sleep, like that is not this. The drink has no value for me anymore. And I really like beer. That's what I always say. But a non-alcoholic beer is as flavorful as it is like with alcohol. So
No, I couldn't agree more. I've been on the same journey for quite a while, and the impact on sleep and the fact that every morning you wake up and you are ready to go, and there is nothing holding you back. That's been, I think, the biggest value that I saw out of that.
what was your reason to stop then?
I had a bit of a health situation that basically sent me to an emergency room and being hospitalized for a little bit. And
Because
that
because of drinking or other reasons?
no, not because of drinking, but it made me reconsider a lot of choices in life. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And of course, if you um, like, if you drink alcohol, you're just putting more strain on your body. And I like putting strain on my body, but this is not the kind of strain. I like to exercise, run fast, lift heavy. That's the kind of strain that I think brings and yields some benefits as well. But yeah, that's pretty much that was the reason why I did that. And like, because it was out of a sudden, it was a big shock. I think it was relatively easy for me to make that decision versus like if you don't have a big trigger. For you, the big
Hmm.
trigger was probably being so wasted that you still remember what it felt like.
I still remember that's true.
But I think for people that don't have these strong impulses, it's quite hard to make a change in their daily routines and habits.
And how long have you stopped drinking already?
It's year 6, 5 or 6 right now.
Oh, that's very serious. I'm just like 3, 4 years in.
Yeah.
And you
I
never
mean,
had the temptation
it's
to drink anymore?
no, it doesn't really change. It's like whether you have not been drinking for 2 years or 7, it's still the same. I think that you just erased it from your life, and there's no reason to bring it back.
And you see, this is like just maybe a bit of a sidetrack. What I've noticed for me, like because like drinking at least in the Netherlands is very normal. Like everybody drinks like with dinner, going out, whatever. Like always have a beer or wine. But I've noticed like with me not drinking anymore, it's now also more normal for my bubble around me to also not drink. And I see people drinking way less around me because like they like, yeah, because I order a water or whatever, like in a restaurant. But if like the first guy orders a beer, the next guy orders also a beer. But if one guy orders a water, next guy order water. And like also I think for one of my companies, for example, in iStops, I think we don't even have alcohol in the fridge. Like that used to be very normal, but like there's just non-alcoholic beer in the fridge. And there's like, and I think there might be a few alcohol bottles, but they've been here for a very long time already. So it's I see it has also a little bit of effect of the people around me that they start to drink less.
I wish I could say that I'm the trendsetter, but I think it's partially that the dynamic of the world is changing and it's way more common that people don't drink. But to support what you say, I also feel that I have a little bit of a bubble around me. Just a few weeks ago, one of the best friends that I have, he had a bachelor party. And you can imagine how crazy a bachelor party can be when there is 8 dudes and 6 of them don't drink at all, and 2 of them are done after their second beer. And some bring electrolytes, probiotics, and their sleep drinks. It was a wild night
Still fun,
to
but
say
like
at
different.
least. No, it was very much fun, but it was something way different than what you imagine a bachelor party of the old days to look like.
You know, I can imagine, but like this is what I mean. Like you see the people like it just like I agree. It's also of course a global thing a little bit. Like everybody starts to drink less. No, it's also quite a lot in America.
Yeah,
But
someone needs to be spearheading the trend, and I think that I'm happy to put the hat on, and you as
do
well
that.
to be the ones that are helping to shape that. Are there any other longevity trends hacks that you have picked up over the years that you find working?
Sleeping, of course. Like for me personally, everything starts with sleeping. Like you can either train, eat healthy, and whatever, and supplement. But I think it starts with sleeping because if you have bad sleep, you usually start to eat more shitty, and because you eat shitty, you don't feel like training. So it's a bit of a downward spiral from sleeping, in my opinion. So I don't know if this is a bit of a hack, but I think like you know Brian Johnson as well, of course. But like it starts with a good night of sleep and prioritize that shit. Like sleeping is not something you do in your leftover time. Like like I'm working late and then I cut hours of my sleeping. No, like this is my sleeping window. Like this is priority, and like either cut stuff from the other side, but I'm sleeping my 8 hours and like of course everything else in a cold room and dark room and all those things, but just prioritizing sleep a lot. Like if people talk to me like I have of course lots of entrepreneurs around me like, oh, I'm sleeping 5 hours, and they're like, yeah, you're just stupid. Like why would you do that?
Well, some bodies are either built different and they can operate with a lot less sleep, or they must be doing something else. I'm the same. It's been also part of my little bit of transformation to sleep a lot more, and it goes hand in hand with the amount of training. That if you want to work out a lot, then it's not 8 hours. It's more towards 9 hours and up, because the more strain you put on your body, the more time you need to recover. And then that's where you enter your company, because I think it makes the recovery a lot better if you can combine sauna and ice bath as part of the mix.
And it helps with sleeping as well. Again,
Yeah,
you sleep better.
yeah. I feel like it fits right in. Going forward, if there is any business that you might be eyeing, looking into the future outside of ice baths, what would it be?
Also, what I said, like I'm thinking a little bit about like but I also want to start business which I really like. I need to like the product. I could never start selling toothbrushes because I have no interest in toothbrushes. Like I know you need them, but like I have no like I'm not dreaming about toothbrushes in the middle of the night. I see a big aspect in what I said, the community building. Maybe like this is. I think there's going to be need for this, and I also personally I would like to meet more people who are into ice bathing, into saunas, into living healthy, like the same conversation we're having now. Like these are the conversations I like. Like I want to have more of those, and I think this is also important Like this, of course, very rational, but also in the longevity perspective. If you have like a good group of people around you where you can talk with, where you can hang out with, this is very important in life.
Is there any wisdom that you would like to pass to the people that are either listening or watching the podcast, and they either want to improve their life or improve their business?
I would go for the sleeping one.
Yeah,
That's what I also tell all my colleagues. Like, just sleep. Like, make it a priority to sleep whatever you need to sleep. If it's 8, 9, 10, doesn't matter. But don't cut from this, because this is how your day starts. This is your foundation. Your foundation is sleep. You build everything else on top of that.
Just sleep more and the rest will come.
Yeah, you wake up with a lot of energy. Like, and everybody has those days when they wake up with lots of energy, and then you're excited about your day. Like, hey, let's go to the gym today. Let's put on extra weight on this thing. You don't want to eat rubbish. Like, I feel good. Let's eat more good food so I feel better. Like, it's a starter of everything else.
Well, Chiel, thank you so much for joining me on the show. Very insightful, and I'll be looking forward to staying in touch.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we will. Let's catch up on that community building.